A&M gets it back, trying to run out the clock. Dennis Franchione in his second season, just like Joe Glenn of Wyoming. Every place he has been, they have increased substantially, significantly their record. In fact, he's got 8 conference titles in 21 years. Not in the Big 12, though.
Yeah, these are the coaches in the Big 12, how many conference championships they have. Now, they're not all significantly in the Big 12, but Dennis Franchione leads the pack there. He's a fix-it coach, and that's why they've got him here at Texas A&M.
So after A&M used a timeout, Rankin takes over, and they are throwing. Franks again, close to a first down, dropped just shy of the first down. Matt Chase got to the wide receiver.
Joe, those little slip screens outside are just about like a run play in college football these days. They're so proficient at it. To slip it out there and get a couple blockers to go in front. Take a good look here at Ty.
And Brandon, a product of Austin Bowie High School. He's a sophomore, third-year sophomore at 6'3", 210.
He's also on that leadership council. He's a young man that's come in here, and they respect him quite a bit. See his numbers from a week ago.
That was on one of the final drives of the game in their 41-21 loss. That was a backwards pass, I believe. No. They say it was even or ahead of Brandon. So now it's going to be 3rd and a yard, stopping the clock with 3:42 to play. And we remind you once again, the first down line is brought to you by Overstock.com. Visit Overstock.com today and start saving. It's all about the O at Overstock.com. Warm day, wrapping things up with 3:42 to play in College Station. One of the great atmospheres, one of the great settings for college football. Brandon with good deception to the backfield. He's got the first down. There's a flag. There's going to be a hold down to the edge, and that was long after he got the first down.
Ty Brandon looks pretty good on the outside also. When we talked to their coaches about him, they were really impressed with him and his ability. And they said, hey, he clocks a 4.540. I mean, he's a pretty good athlete himself. I don't think he's a Reggie McNeil outside.
Number 3 on the offense. It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
It's a wide receiver, Terrence Thomas, who caught one.
I was about to say, I don't think he's a Reggie McNeil outside out there, but got enough speed to get around the corner, and Coach Fran giving a little bit of his opinion to the official.
Basically saying if you're going to call that now, call it all game long. There was a hold. There's no doubt about that. Thomas isn't asked to block all that often. So too many penalties late for A&M. That's the only blemish.
And the penalty was from the spot of the foul, so they only lose about a yard here, 3rd and 2 now instead of 3rd and 1, because the penalty was downfield.
Not 3rd and 11, but 3rd and a little more than 2. Not exactly the snap that Brandon was looking for, and throws it away. Bondi came in with the pressure.
You know, but that shows a lot of something that coaches like to see, and that's a quarterback who's thinking. He knows he's got a bad snap. He's got to get it picked up. He's got to get rid of the football. Reggie McNeil sees him and says, hey, that was a tough one. You got to pick it up and get it out of there. Does a good job throwing it away and not taking a loss on it.
So with the opportunity to run out the clock, and that would have guaranteed them a shutout, their first, as you mentioned, at home since '98.
Stay out the center.
Instead, Barge waits for the punt. And more than anything else for both coaches, get out of here healthy over the final 3:27. Wobbler, Barge, doesn't call for a catch. So the prudent decision, he wants points. And our player of the game, our Polaris ATV MVP today, Reggie McNeil. Big pass plays when he needed them early. He found Murphy for 48 yards. Late, Franks for 84. There's the 48-yarder.
Yeah, Reggie McNeil had a great day, Joel. Throwing the ball, running the ball. He was very comfortable back there. His hand, the injury from a week ago, didn't bother him whatsoever. He did what he needed to lead this football team, and I think he's taken him up on his shoulders, and they're going to ride the success of Reggie McNeil all season long.
Well, the 84 got him to 298, so very quietly, almost to a 300-yard day for McNeil. Now the underneath route for Barge on the comeback. Goes across for the first down. There's one thing a football team doesn't want: the embarrassment of a shutout. They don't care when they get the points, they just want to score.
Well, they want to get something up there on the board, and Wyoming's going to keep chunking it out there. This is a zone blitz here by the defense, and you're going to see a defensive lineman out there in coverage, and he's not going to be able to catch up with Barge. Good job that time by Wyoming bringing the receiver across and defeating that zone blitz.
First down at the 46. A&M. Almost time with the pick, trying to get it to Bona. Well, we talked. You said you haven't talked about Appel much. He almost went the other way with it.
Yeah, he saw that one coming. I think he wanted to step in front of it, like to take him one. He's had a couple chances here where other defenders have knocked the ball away. Now he's got a chance to go and make a break on the ball. Bo Knight goes down and almost makes the grab himself, but Jackson Appel, pretty heady safety, makes a good break.
2nd and 10. Blitz up the middle. Grambling can't get away. Blitz came from the backer. Jory Adams got the sack. Play was busted up, though, by Aaron Brown. Eric Mays, our Cooper Tires defensive player of the game. He's brought back punts. He's got 10. He's double figures in tackles, and almost all solo, 7 of the 10. So now 3rd and long after the sack by Adams. And here comes the heat. Got it away, but it's picked up. The linebacker, who just busted up the last play, hangs onto it, took a shot at the end, Aaron Brown. Not a bad way to close it out.
Well, Corey Bramble just kind of floated this ball out there, and Aaron Brown, who's playing the middle of the field here, trying to get back in coverage, actually has a chance to make a play, and he does. Corey Bramble should have thrown this ball a little bit deeper. He had the receiver behind the defense. You see Brown going to drop back right here. He's running backwards, and you see the receiver coming around over the top, but Corey does a good job being underneath. Ball just underthrown.
Textbook tackle by the running back, Joseph Harris. So the 3rd pick of the day, Jonte Buell, first. That came from Bramlett. Then Warren picked off the backup quarterback. And finally, this one by Brown. So 3 for A&M, and they just went in double figures in penalties.
Start. Number 77 offense. It'll be a 5-yard penalty and remain first down.
Grant Dickey, the sophomore from Tyler, Texas. So we raced through the first 3 quarters, but a lot of penalties over the 4th quarter. Markov 5. It's back at the 26. Franks again. He's got some wheels, doesn't he? Yeah, they get more speed on the field when they get him out there. Luke Chase on the stop. Well, Missouri lost on Thursday. It was a bad start to the week for the Big 12, but it continued today. Nebraska lost. Iowa State losing. Kansas State lost at home. And, well, Colorado doing a good job on the road. Then tonight, Oklahoma at home to Houston. Kansas taking on Toledo. Oklahoma State at home as well. Baylor at home. As we get ready for 2nd and short after the Franks reception. Franks now with another first down. Staying in bounds. We'll stop it momentarily to move the chains, but right now A&M just wants to run the clock and get their shutout.
Talk about the Big 12 schedule, and Texas goes to Arkansas this week.
Yes.
A little revenge game from a year ago where the Longhorn season was kind of derailed by what Arkansas did against them.
Houston Nutt, been well documented, the opportunity to leave Arkansas during the offseason, but wanted to stay with the Razorbacks. From the 44 rather, inside give, Chris Alexander. And ahead now for the Aggies. With a little more than a minute to play in the 4th. As they just have to take 2 more snaps. Clemson, a home game against Kansas State as well before back-to-backers to start conference play on the road. Kansas State at home, and then Iowa State, Oklahoma State, Colorado back on the road. Baylor get Oklahoma at home, and finish it off with Texas Tech and Texas. Thanksgiving weekend. Not a bad way to conclude the season. Again, it's Alexander struggling his way across the midfield strike.
Goes to number 24,
And most likely one more snap, and that'll do it.
Tackled by number 50.
Total offense here now for Texas A&M, Joel, up over 480 yards in this football game. 478 actually. 481 now is what they updated. And pretty good performance overall by this football team. And I think Coach Franchione really instilled the character to come out here and display a complete football game. And that's what the Aggies played, Joel, for today. Defensively, they played inspired football. Carl Torbush, their coordinator, told us, hey, they need to play better. He challenged them, wanted to create accountability. And offensively, Reggie McNeil, I think Keith Joseph really stepped up. Both those guys gave these guys a little bit of added punch on that offensive side of the ball.
And what stands out on this final snap of the game, what stands out is the effort by the defensive unit. You talked about it. They gave up 41 points last week and 580 yards. This week, they what the defense did against a pretty talented Wyoming team offensively.
Now, Wyoming put up some huge numbers last week, over 500 yards of total offense. Didn't get anything today. Only 3 yards rushing against this Texas A&M defense. That's a phenomenal number, and I think it's something that they can build on. Are they the wrecking crew of old? No, they're not there yet, Joel, but I think that they're trying to put the pieces together for them to be a better football team, and they're going to try to get better each play.
Yeah, looking back on some home runs for A&M. The first score of the game, McNeil.
No doubt the speed there, Reggie McNeil. Then the interception here by Justin Warren takes it in for the touchdown. Texas A&M played spirited football all over the place, and I think that there's a combination effort, offense, defense. Special teams wasn't a huge factor in this game. When you have a speedy receivers getting down the field and making these kind of plays for the Aggies, see some brighter days ahead for them.
So a great way to start the home campaign for the Aggies of Texas A&M with a shutout of Wyoming. Don't forget to join us next Saturday. It's a college football twin bill. It all starts at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. TCU taking on Texas Tech. Northern Illinois matching up with Iowa State. Then all will be followed by number 21 Wisconsin against Arizona. For Gary Reason's Jim Knox, I'm Joel Myers. Thanks for joining us once again in College Station. A&M 31-0 over Wyoming. Now let's head back to the studio. Bill Jones and company. Take it away, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Joel Myers, as we are here with the complete post-game story for a good little while, as it's been already a big college football doubleheader here on FSN. As Texas A&M, a winner over Wyoming. Sort of a slow start to this game for the Aggies, but Greg Hill, Brian Jones, along with me, Bill Jones, we're going to analyze this thing. And Greg, let's start with the Aggie, Mr. Longhorn. They got back on track, didn't they, Greg?
Well, what a difference a week makes. A week makes. A&M was able to go back, look at the first week's game, and analyze some disadvantages that they were in, change some situations around, and we produced a new A&M team this week.
I just want to know where they were taking that guy in that white suit. Where are they taking him? I mean, they were that happy. It was Wyoming, for Christ's sake. I mean, you can't be that happy. You can't go celebrate. They did improve, and that's what the game is all about, getting better from game to game.
And they took care of business and get set to face Clemson next week. And, of course, we'll have much more on the post-game story from College Station coming up here. But let's get you up to speed on what's happened today in college football, starting with the first game we saw today right here on FSN. Fresno State, coached by Pat Hill, goes into Manhattan, Kansas, takes on the 13th-ranked Kansas State Wildcats and put on a show. Paul Penegard, a swing pass to Matt Rivera, 11 yards for the score. Bulldogs went up by 10 at 24-14, then up 31-14 in the third quarter on 2nd and 22. Same combo again, Penegard to Rivera, and 29 yards for the touchdown. Fresno State rolls over K-State, 45-21 the final score. Let's 45-21, you see Sproles, 35 yards on 11 carries in this game. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the Big 12 this afternoon, Bill Callahan's Nebraska Cornhuskers taking on Southern Miss. They led 17-15, the Huskers did, until they fumbled the ball away, and then Dustin Allman to Marvin Young, 46 yards, and Southern Miss leads. Nebraska driving, 4.5 minutes left. Joe Daly, though, coughs up the football on the fumble. It's recovered by Darrell Bennett, and Southern Miss holding on. Huskers get one last chance here, throwing for the end zone, but it falls incomplete, and Nebraska falls at home to Southern Miss, 21-17, the final score in that one. Not a good day for the Big 12 North. Let's see if it gets any better as we take you to Iowa City, Iowa. Iowa State taking on its arch rival, the Iowa Hawkeyes, 16th ranked in the country. Drew Tate out of Baytown, Texas. The pass to Ed Hinkle. What a terrific diving catch, 29 yards. Hawkeyes led 14-3 at the half. Third quarter, the Cyclones with a Texas quarterback, Austin Flynn out of Deer Park, Texas. The touchdown pass to Todd Blythe. Not enough, though, for the Cyclones as Iowa wins over Iowa State. 17-10 the final score. A respectable showing, however, for the Cyclones playing on the road against the Hawkeyes. A couple of other scores to pass along. Colorado is leading Washington State 20-12 as they play in the fourth quarter. The Buffs looking to make it 2 wins in a row to start the season after a troubled offseason. And Notre Dame has now taken a 28-12 lead on 8th-ranked Michigan. The Fighting Irish getting back on track after losing to BYU a week ago. All right, let's start with you now, Brian Jones. What sticks out from this afternoon?
Well, Fresno State. I mean, that's going to be the big ball game everyone's going to be talking about. I picked Fresno State. I believe Greg also picked Fresno State to win this football game. They came into Little Apple, Little Manhattan, and they just took what they wanted from Kansas State. An exceptional job by the offensive line, defensive line. I have never seen Kansas State manhandled like they were today.
I'm excited to see the Michigan-Notre Dame game. You're talking about a game where two teams, whenever they play, I don't care what the rankings are, both of these teams chunk them out of the window. They play smash mouth football. Notre Dame has the big momentum right now, and they've been able to capitalize on it all day long.
That's the big national story today. As far as the Big 12 goes, the Big 12 North starting the weekend, really on Thursday, with Missouri losing against Troy. And then you've got K-State falling today, Nebraska falls today, and, of course, Iowa State lost against Iowa.
Well, I think there's no joke or no question that the Big 12 North has lost some of its luster this week. As you mentioned, Missouri falling to Troy. It's not Troy State anymore. It's just Troy, and I'm sure they know how to say that in Missouri, unfortunately. But they have to regroup. They have to regroup. Nebraska has to regroup. Iowa State, and of course, Kansas State has to regroup because there's a lot of football left, so you're not out of this thing by a long shot.
Well, when you look at these three teams, you still got some good football left to play. Unfortunately, when you look at the North, three of the teams, which I picked Missouri to win the conference, you got to look at them and say, hey, they need some more practice at playing football, and hopefully the weeks that come forward will allow them to put themselves together to come out and be able to execute and get better in the conference.
Let's right now head back to College Station now, and Jim Knox standing by with the Aggie quarterback Reggie McNeil.
All right, thank you very much, Reggie McNeil. What a game. First off, the hand looked fine. It really wasn't a problem today, was it?
No, I mean, I practiced all week with it. I mean, so I just knew I just have to be really focused to come out here and play with it, and just get my team, get my team in the right position, in a good position to win.
All right, right now, Reggie, the book's closed on you today. 298 yards through the air, had that long touchdown pass to the little freshman. You also scored yourself. Did it feel as good as it looked?
Yeah, it felt real good. I mean, first, just to get back in the win column. I mean, you could tell everybody just, into it and just wanted to play out and have fun today. I mean, so yeah, it felt real good to get back in the win column.
Was that it? Were you guys trying to make a statement today, bouncing back from last week's defeat against Utah?
Yeah, we had to. Because last week we didn't play our type of game. So, we just felt like we had to come out and play as a team and just stay together.
I appreciate the time, Reggie, and congratulations on the big afternoon. Right now, let's head back to your studio.
All right, Jim Knox in College Station. Big afternoon for Reggie McNeil, and really amazing considering the fact he had surgery on his left thumb earlier in the week.
But he's a trooper. He's an A&M Aggie. And hey, Aggies never die easy. They always play hard.
I can't touch that. They're going to die later this year. I think it's around Thanksgiving.
And let's go to the schedule. In fact, Brian Jones' team is playing tonight. I'd rather large game. But looking at the Big 12 schedule tonight, Oklahoma plays host to Houston. Meanwhile, one of the other big games in Oklahoma, in Stillwater, OSU, after beating UCLA last week, plays against Tulsa. Baylor hosts Texas State. Tech on the road in Albuquerque at New Mexico. And the big one tonight is Texas at Arkansas. What do you think, Brian?
Well, it's going to always be a difficult game when you play in Vietnam, and it's going to be a crazy environment. It's going to be loud, hooping and hollering, but I think Texas comes out on top.
What do you think, Greg?
I think so, too. Vince Young, Cedric Benson, if both of these guys can get on track, yes, last week North Texas game isn't any comparison to playing Arkansas, but we all know, and maybe you folks don't know, that they went out to practice yesterday and Fayetteville had the highlight